Hi folks, this is Danny at Bradley James Classics, and today's classic is instantly recognisable as possibly one of the finest cars ever made. And this one is probably one of the nicest ones I've seen. It's a Jaguar E-Type from 1964, making it a Series 1 car. It's in a beautiful shade of British racing green, and we are actually selling this on behalf of the owner, who's a friend to our business here in Overton, Hampshire. It's with a heavy heart. He's decided to let this beautiful old girl go, and even though there is a lot to look at and a lot to discuss, I do want to just give you this initial walk around video. The car is available to come and view here in Hampshire. We're very happy to arrange a hoist so you can get it up in the air, and if you have the correct skill set, then by all means it's a car you are welcome to inspect yourself or have inspected. But having had the opportunity to look at this car up on the ramp, this is a previous complete ground up restoration. Now, the car itself started life as a fixed head coupe. It has subsequently been completely rebuilt by a couple of ex-Jaguar employees to this very high standard, and there is a impressive file that comes with the car that gives you a lot more details, timelines. Now, I can tell you just from my knowledge of these particular cars and having had the opportunity of having it on our ramp and having a quick look round, I can tell you that it's in excellent condition, and the work carried out has been to the highest standard. When you get underneath, you'll be seeing lots of powder coated parts and a complete professional rebuild to a very nice standard. It's actually been a Martin Roby shell that's been used, and even if you just take the current price of a shell, and even the bonnet for these cars are incredibly expensive, but it's a good one. Now, other than the fact it's a Roadster and not a fixed head coupe anymore, I can tell you it's got brakes off of Series 2 on the front, so they're a little better. It does have a fully synchro-meshed gearbox, manual gearbox, rather than the early Moss box, which wasn't quite as easy to live with. It's got a high torque starter motor. It has improved cooling. It certainly handles extremely well, so the suspension, steering, brakes all feel very good and fresh, and clearly a good inspection to have a look at the quality of this car would be essential. It's just a real pleasure to drive. The hood looks as new, and I think the thing to do, while I've got the video facility running here, I'm going to start at the back, and this near side rear wing is perfect, as is the chrome. Those wires are painted, and the knockoffs are all in excellent conditions. Wider tyres than what the car would have had. It's running a set of Pirelli Scorpions. The hood, as I said, is in excellent order. The paint work, bodywork is ever so good. I've just actually taken a car cover off of it, so there's a little layer of dust on it, but you can see from these door caps that this is a proper job. And of course, through the bonnet there, just looking down onto those front wheels, and if you can see, we've got some big brakes, and those discs are all in excellent condition. Running through the front of the car now, very little in the way of stone chips. If I get really close here, you know, you can imagine one or two, but very, very light. Very nice order through the nose, and as I just walk down the car, we're just looking down here for any sign of any interesting panel gaps or anything of concern, and I can tell you everything is looking very nice. There's your 3 wipers. Door gaps very nice around the door, particularly gaps around the door, I should say, rather than door gaps around the door. The rear offside wing area, excellent condition, and this boot lid is fitting very nicely as well, as you can see with that panel gap. The reason I do this is that my customers getting in touch are always obsessed with panel gaps, so I thought, right, on a car like this, let's give the people what they want and a good video of those panel gaps. Now, this is not going to be definitive, but when I get down underneath here and you start to have a little look underneath, hopefully what you're seeing is a car that's in good condition all round. Now, the interior is very honest. These are the correct early seats. How thin they are. There is some wear here on this driver's side. The usual place that they go. I mean, to get the car absolutely perfect, you could carry out some trimming to those seats, but because this leather looks to be in such good condition, it seems a shame to change it unless you're looking to take it to the next level. It displays 34,000 miles. Everything looks correct in here, including a period radio. It starts very nicely as it should. And while I'm here, for those of you that know, there's a little procedure for opening up the bonnet on these. We may as well lift that and have a look at that wonderful engine. Obviously, being a Series 1 from 64, you will see that the engine is going to be a 3.8 rather than the 4.2 which came on the later cars. Now, let's see if I can do this with a one hand. I can. Let's have a look at that lovely engine. Okay, well, here we are. So, a battery fitted extremely recently, a couple of weeks ago. And here we are, just having a little look. Now, this car, despite how lovely she all looks now, the gentleman actually used to drive it, and it's been a car that's actually done some miles, done some touring. He is, as you can see, a member of the Drivers Club, and there's a few other little accolades with stickers up here. It's been a local car to Hampshire. My understanding was it was actually bought by the owner now. The previous owner also lived locally, so it's been in this area for a while. And as I say, you're not seeing a car that's just been heavily tarted up for sale. This is literally as it came from his garage into our storage facility. There's that additional cooling. That's a very nice job there. Very useful on these cars. Let's have a walk around the other side. And there's those 3 SU carbs. Those bellows are all in excellent condition. Another chunky shock absorbers there. Just looking at the contrast of the green and the gold on those wishbones, looking rather special. It looks to be an electronic ignition system. It's very difficult to see, but that's that high torque starter motor sitting in there. So, and a sports coil to go with that ignition system. Yeah, absolutely purrs. She's completely on the button. And talking about being on the button, they literally do have a button, these cars. It's on with the ignition. You set your choke to, do you want it to be cold, hot, or run? I've actually got mine on hot at the moment because I've just driven it out of the unit and it's just ticked over. So she's good to go. Well, this is only really to whet your appetite. with a car like this, it's not the sort of car that we can sell over texts and emails very easily. This is a car that needs to be seen to be appreciated. The price point is extremely sensible because it does take into effect the car will probably never be, for a total purist, mainly because of the body shell change to go from being a fixed head coupe to a Roadster. Now, of course, this will not be the only car that's happened to, but being an early Series 1, or being an early E-Type, being a Series 1 is very nice. We have the correct numbers for the chassis and the engine. It's just had this body shell change, but as you can see, the condition of that bonnet alone is beautiful, as is the rest of this shell. And then when you're underneath, expect to see this sort of condition in the framework. The whole thing's been painted very beautifully and professionally, and carried out by Jaguar engineers to a very high standard. So this one is in stock. It's available for you to come and have a look at. Make sure that it's the correct car for you. On a car of this caliber, it is very usual to have an inspection carried out, which we're more than happy to facilitate. We can do that in our workshops here in North Hampshire. You'd be very welcome to come and have a look at her. Now, the price, as I mentioned, does reflect the fact that I'm very conscious of the price that a Series 1 Roadster, especially a lovely British Racing Green, this, I believe, comes at a very sensible price point, because it does take into account the fact that the car did in fact start life as the coupe model. So please do get in touch with any questions you have, and if you'd like to come and see this bit of British motoring history, then we can arrange such an appointment. I'll be delighted to show you around this beautiful car. Well, folks, it's Danny at Bradley James Classics signing out. Thank you for watching today's video.